Good Chodesh Rabboisai. Eli nishmas Motivators, straight live from the Masimara in Kenya, where my Tayr Chaverim, 4 initial guys from the Shir, brought me as a birthday gift for my 50th birthday, which is coming up in like 2 weeks. And since it's still been as manim in Eretz Yisrael and Yeshiva, so they took me. I really, really appreciate it. We had an unbelievable time today. I want to share a little bit with you, actually, before we get into it. This is a picture I took of a leopard. I thought it was amazing. This is a leopard jumping. He's off the ground here. But here's a very pelvic thing. The Kisei HaKavod has the 3 malachim of the animal kingdom. It has the lion in this picture. It also has the bull in this picture. And then this exact scene. So here's a buffalo that this lion killed, which we took. I took this picture. And maybe how long afterwards? An hour and a half later, this is what the buffalo looked like after the Nesher, which is the king of the birds. And according to Lot, the Nesher is a vulture. And if it's not a vulture, we also saw eagles today. But this is what the vultures did to this shark. You can see the carcass over there. There's nothing like just. It's a fuzzy picture. It was that came off a video that we took, and you see the Nesher in the sky landing, coming for landing. All right, so the Flois HaBayram. Another very important thing to remember is, and that they told me this now, that the reason why they chose this week, Dafka, is because it's Parshas Noach and all the animals at the table. They want to bring me to where you see the animals that are on the table for what they really are in their live habitat. So Yishkoyach again. I want to remind the Olam that today is the final day of my favorite Masechta, or one of my favorite Masechtas. Maybe Yuma, toss up between Yuma and Kesubos. It's many people's most favorite Masechta, Geshmak Masechta. Tomorrow we're starting Masechtas Nedarim, also live from the Masimara. There are many siyum taking place. There's a major siyum in Lakewood, Iraq Chodesh. Let's see if I can. Where is this? No. Oh, at the Chestnut Shul in Lakewood. Big matzav over there. Minimum donation $15. There's also a big matzav in Agudas Yisrael in New York, in Brooklyn Avenue L. Serious matzav. I'm going to be there in Ramat Bet Shemesh this coming Sunday. Be there, Cafe Rimon. It's going to be amazing. I am not doing the siyum there because I'm doing the siyum in London. We're traveling to London. A bunch of guys, over 1 million of guys, I would say, traveling to London for a siyum on Masechtas Kesubos, and then the following day we're going to Manchester where the Chabura started. So check out your local mdysiyum.com for all information regarding siyum in your neighborhoods. There's one in Los Angeles. There's one in Chicago, Baltimore. Baltimore is a big siyum, and many others. Check out mdysiyum.com. All right, Rabbi Isai, the Koilo sponsor, Eli nishmas Yosef, the Masechta, the last day. I want to give a tremendous Zchus to Mo Landy, who sponsored the Masechta together with the second sponsor, Jeff Rosner. Mo Landy, Eli nishmas Yosef, Baruch ben Moshe Aaron, Eli nishmas Moshe Elazar ben Shalom, and for the hatzlacha b'chol ha'inyanim for my children, Yishkoyach Mo for the tremendous support, and the Masechta by Jeff Rosner for his young yeshiva bacher, his son, Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Chana, who needs a desperate Refuah Shlaima. Amen. The rest of Masechta is sponsored, and this is the last day, Ofishel Mitzva Motivators for our dear friend, Avi Mendelbaum from Moreshet, Avraham Nachum ben Chana Brokha Refuah Shlaima. Parnas Chodesh, Zechariah ben Moshe. The Parnas HaShavua, nishmas Avraham Nachum ben Refoel Yitzchak, and the Parnas HaYoim, Avi Sherman, on the 11th yahrzeit of his mother, Yeles Bas Avram. No, it's all mixed up here. Okay. Yeles Bas Avram, but it also says Chana here. Okay, I don't know what that is. Refuah Shlaima, Refoel ben Gila, who's going through a heart procedure. One of our dear friends, Refuah Shlaima, Refoel Ben Gila. He should have Refuah Shlaima, so that in addition to everything else, he can start Masechtas Nedarim on his right foot. All right, here we go. The final Amud of the Masechta, maybe slightly more than Amud Daf Yomi Beis. We're starting from 8 lines from the bottom of Kuf Yud Aleph Amud Beis, continuing with the Agadata about the importance and the chashivas to live in Eretz Yisrael. Rav Chia bar Ado Makri Dardik Rish Lakish Hava. Rav Chia bar Ado was the Rebbe of Rish Lakish's children. Ibgar Tlasa Yoim Velayasi. He was late 3 days and he didn't show up, which reminded me of the amazing story, and it's very appropriate because we're here finishing a Masechta today. Besides the last few lines, the Heilige Meir Shapiro. Where did he come up with the whole Daf Yomi idea? From this line right here, well, connected to this line. And then he saw his mother crying. He said, "Why are you crying?" And she said, "Because your Rebbe didn't show up today." So he said, "So what? He'll be here tomorrow. He came yesterday." She said, "No. One day without Torah is a day lost that you can never make it up." And that's where he got the brainstorm. What's the Avi? The Einfall. That's where he got the Einfall to do Daf Yomi, they say. Some say he got it from somebody else, but whatever it is, that's where he got the inspiration. So his, Inspiration. The Rebbe didn't show up for 3 days. Why are you late? Rish Lakish asked him, my father left me 1 vine. The first day, I was able to harvest 300 clusters of grapes. Eshkol legarev. From 1 cluster of grapes, let's say today a cluster is this large. 1 cluster, was enough for a saw of wine. Tremendous amount. Yom Sheni, he lost 50%. But Tzarti Sholish Meis Eshkolos, he got the same amount, but Shtei Eshkolos legarev. As it took 2 clusters to make a saw. Yom Shlishi, it also dipped by 50%, but Tzarti Mino Shalish Meis Eshkolos. Shalish Eshkolos legarev, it took me 3 clusters to make 1 saw. And he says, Vifkarti Yosef Mechetzia, don't worry, Rish Lakish, I gave away more than half of all my wine. Omarlei, says Rish Lakish, you have to hear this line here. This is a very, very important line. Ilavdev Gart, have a avdet fei. You hear what's going on here? Had you not been late, had you taught my children Torah, you wouldn't have had that loss. Yes, you had a tremendous amount of wine. And I believe that's a Musar Haskell for every one of us. We have to remember this. You hear this, Mendy? We have to put this in, make a sign out of it. Ilavdiv Gart, Hava Avdet Fei. Sometimes we think we'll skip the shir, we'll skip the Daf Yomi today because I have a more important meeting to take care of. And the truth is that if you skip your meeting and you do the Daf and you learn Torah, your business is going to do that much more. And we proved it live once in the middle of a shir when Shmuel, what's his last name? Shmuel Eliwat was Erev Yom Kippur, and I saw him leave the Beis Medrash right before shir. He davened Shakas and left the Beis Medrash, and I said, "Where are you going?" He goes, "I'm going to collect money." I said, "No, you can't collect money on the cheshbon of Torah. You have a kviyas every single day." He says, "Yeah, but every year I collect money for Laman Achai, Yerma B'Chemes. What should I do?" I said, "Let somebody else collect. Come back into the Beis Medrash." He said, "I can't." And all of a sudden, 10 minutes later, into shir, he walks in. And I spoke about him. I said, "Look, he's Mizgaber." He came back to the shir. And during the shir, somebody donated how much? $1,000. No, over $1,000. And he made a lot of money, like $5,000 total at the end, I think it was. And he said that his son went with the car that day and did the whole round, and he made less money than the cost of gas. And for the fact that he stayed and learned Torah, he made thousands of dollars. And there was a big tzaddik from Lakewood that donated. I remember who it was now. During the shir, he sent a text message to Avi Sherman. He said, "Tell him, in the zchus that he stayed in the shir, I'm giving X amount of money." It was unbelievable. But it's a ma'aseh shebachol yoyim. If we learn just one thing from today's daf, that's, I think, one you said that we should learn. Push off the business stuff and don't push off Torah. Torah comes first. Again, Ilav divgart. if you wouldn't have pushed it off and done your wine, have after tefillah, you would have made much more wine. Run by Yechezkel Bnei Brak. When Yechezkel went to Bnei Brak, Chazinu lahanu izeh de ka'achlan tu seitaine. He saw goats eating underneath the fig tree. V'kanotiv duvshe mitaine, and he saw the honey of the figs dripping out. V'chalava tayiv minayu, and he saw the milk dripping out of the goats. Uma'arev b'hadei adodi, and they were mixing together. Amar hainu zovas chol v'dvash. That's the pasuk that Eretz Yisrael is a land of zovas chol v'dvash. Here you have the honey from the figs mixed together with the milk of the goats. Amar Rabbi Yaakov ben Lustai miloid la'oino shloshim milim. From the city Loid to Oino is 3 mil. Pamachas kidamti beneshev. I woke up early in the morning. Valachti at kasulai b'dvash al teinim. I went up into my ankles in the honey of figs. Rabbi Isai. These are one of the agatas that we have to invoke the Marsha and others, the Maral, who say that a lot of these agatas are impossible to understand on a simple level. And they have very deep meanings, which I don't claim to know or even try to understand. He went into the honey, maybe it's Torah, I don't know what it is, the honey up to his ankles. And I saw Zovas Cholodash Tzipori. The have a Shitzar Milin was 16 mil. A Shitzar Milin was a 16 square mil. And nobody else saw it. Only they saw it. It's deeper than the surface meaning. The Marshon Gittin says that there's a lot of nister in Shas and Gemara, and the Gemara sprinkles it out throughout. It has different ways of healing and different things. And for those who know, and those who don't know, don't. And there's just a simple surface meaning. Kimibe michse ad akra the sulbanki. It's like from the place michse all the way to sulbanki. Chav Beis parsi urka was 22 parsais long, upusya, and it's width shita parsi 6 by 24. They came to a place. They brought him a peach, the size of a frying pan from Hinot. That's how large the peach was. New, and how big is a frying pan from Hinot? 5 saw worth, huge. They ate a third, and they gave away a third, and they gave their animal a third. Reb Elazar went the next year. Look, this is a land of fruit. It became like salty. Why? From the bad deeds of those who sit there. Bekitzer, it ruined the fruit. Rabbi Shua ben Levi ikla ligavlo chazinu lahanu kitufe davekhaimi ki igla. He saw these grapes that were like the size of a calf. Omar golem benak fanim. Look, it looks like a bunch of calves by the grapes. Omar kitufe ninu. No. These are grapes. They're not calves. Omar eretz achnisi perisayich. He made a gzeira on the land. Stop giving such beautiful large fruit. Lemiad moitzia perisayich. Who are you giving it to? Larvim, to these Arabs. Halalu shamdu aleinu b'chateseinu. Because we were chayta, they subjugated us to terrible things. They don't deserve it, Arvim. Stop giving them nice fruit. L'shana, next year, Ikla Reb Eli went. Now they weren't as large as calves, they were the size of goats. Omar Izim, check this out. We have goats here. Omar Le Zil, you can leave right now. We already got cursed once. Stop praising our fruit because you're about to curse it again. We know your tricks. Leave. Torah Baron. The Berchusar Shel Eretz Yisrael, Beisa Oisa Chameshes Riboy. Again, another Gemara that on the surface, very difficult to understand. When Eretz Yisrael it's in brachas and it's in blessings, then one saw can make 50,000 kur. 5,000 riboy. Riboy is 10,000. 5 riboy. Riboy is 10,000. 5 times 10,000, 50,000 kur. The Shivasa Shel Tsoyan Beisa In Tzayin is like in Mitzrayim. Beis saw is a shivim kur. Not 50,000, but 70 kur. Not 70,000. 70 versus 50,000. The Sanyo. Omer Meirani Reisibi because Beis saw is a shivim kur. I saw in Beishan 70 kur. The best of the best of all the countries is Mitzrayim. That produces the most. Hashem's garden is like Eretz Mitzrayim. The best place in Mitzrayim, there's Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is the best place. Because they have kings there. The Sarim are in Tzayin. Hebron has the hardest land. It's full of bedrock. They have a kavribo shichve. They have basic forest there. Marsa Machpelah, bunch of caves. Hebron mevuna. Hebron is fertile. So Rashi says it's a lashon of v'ibana mimena, v'ibana gam anoichi mimena, v'ibana. It's not just to build, but it means I'll have children from her. So it's fertile 7 times of tzaya. 7 years before. My nivnasa, you say Hebron was built, literally built. Canaan is the younger son. So does a person build a house for his younger son? For Mitzrayim? Shenemar, Uvnei. What parish is that, Rabbi Isai? This week's parish. Uvnei Cham, Kush, Umitzrayim, Ufut, Uchnan. Chnan is all the way to end. So Chnan is the youngest. Mitzrayim is older. So why would he build for Chnan first? Elishemivuna, Alachas Meshiva B'Tzayan. So you have 70 times 7 equals 490 Korbanim B'Troshim. And that's when it's on rock. You gain 10, 490 versus 500. When it's in its brachas, and what does it say? Me'apamim, right? That's what it says over there. I can't read over here, but it says Me'apamim. Me'ashar, right? Me'ashar. Me'ashar. So you have the 490 times 100 is 50,000. 50,000 kur. Tanya Omer. So that's what we were saying before. It brings 50,000 versus 70. Tanya Reb Yosi. So, right, what did we say before? 70,000? What did we say? No, we said 50,000. 5,000 riboy, which is 50,000. That's how we get the 50,000. Because it's not on Trushin. If it's on not bedrock, it's 500. And Mea Sharin times 100 is 50,000. Tanya Rabbi Yosef. Saw Yehuda, Isa, Chamish Sai. One saw in Yehuda, you can make 5 saw out of it. What type of saw? Saw Kamach, regular flour. Saw Silas, very fine flour. Saw Subin, saw Mursin, saw Kibaria. You can do bran, all sorts of yummy breads, all the whole wheat stuff. You're praising Eretz Yisrael for the right reasons. Why? My father left me one son, Eretz Yisrael. From that one saw, I was able to get oil. I'm able to make wine. I'm able to make wheat. I'm able to get beans and shalom. And I'm able also to graze my. It's not like it takes up the whole saw. I have leftover room to graze my sheep. There's a person from Amorah who said to somebody from Eretz Yisrael, "Hi Tulsa, the Kaima Guda the Ardino Kama Gadrisum, you see that nice palm tree? How many dates were you able to pull off the tree? Omerle Shitin Kure, tremendous amount, 60 kur. Omerle Akatila Agtu Ba." This is like an anti-Semitic thing to say. We unfortunately had today a situation. There's Ace of Saint Eliakov. People scream to you wherever you are, Yidden, whatever. It's not a new thing. So this guy tells him, you didn't even move in here, and I heard that line even in our days. You guys just moved to the neighbor, you're already ruining, you're already throwing your wrappers on the floor. So you didn't even move here, and you're already ruining the tree. You could only pull out of the tree 60 kur of dates. Guess what? Anan may of Eshem Kuri have, because we didn't even know. We used to double the output. So look, you're ruining the land. I didn't tell you the whole amount. I thought you didn't know. So because you didn't know, I didn't want to make an Ein Hara. So I halved it. I was telling you 60 because I don't want you to start giving me Ein Hara and make me a mess. So I said, I was telling you about 1/2. Now that I see you know the real number, I'll tell you the truth. We also have the same amount, 120. Orav Chizda. I'll give you a land of chemed, of, how do you say chemed in English? To cherish, to whatever. Nachlas tzvi. Again, today we saw a lot of tzvaim. Lama Eretz Yisrael nimshal tzvi. Why is Eretz Yisrael compared to a deer? It's a famous marshal. The deer, once you take off its hide, you can't fit its body back into the hide. It shrinks. It's only there. It's able to surround him because that's how he was created. But once you take it off, it becomes, half the size. Try to fit it back in, impossible. So the same thing with Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael, it has so much, and has so many people, like Yerushalayim back in the day, by the time of the Mikdash. There's just so many. What we said 300 in the Bati Midrashim, and 394, 390 something, Bati Dinim, and where we're talking about the old city. We're talking about a little place, but it's Eretz that's Eretz Tzvi. It stretches. But it is able to hold everything. This deer is faster than the other animals. So the Eretz Yisrael is the fastest to have ripe fruit. But wait a minute. The reason why the tzvi is so fast is because it doesn't carry any meat, any fat on it. Okay, great. So the fruit ripened quickly, but it doesn't have good fruit. The what? They're fatter than milk and they're sweeter than honey. When Reb Elazar went to Yisrael, Omar, I was just saved from one of the curses, Kisamchu, and when they gave him Smicha, Omar, Baruch Hashem, I was saved from the second one. When they told him about the secrets of Ibra Chodesh, Omar, I was saved from 3. Shenemar, B'Soidami lo use a soidibur. Here, I just have the pause if you want to see it lined up. B'Soidami lo use one part. Uchsav Beis Yisrael Yikosei was the next. Ulam Beis Yisrael Yivo. Says the Gemara. B'Soidami lo use is a soidibur. You see the secret of Ibur Chodesh. Uchsav Beis Yisrael Yikosei was a smicha. So he's saying, look, I was saved from this, saved from that. The Ulam Beis Yisrael Yivo, and they won't come to Yisrael. I was saved from that. I did come to Eretz Yisrael. I did have an aliyah. They say about the Vilna Gaon tried to go to Eretz Yisrael and he wasn't able to. The Baal Shem Tov tried to go. Many Gedolim tried to get up there and they weren't able to. So it says the Gemara, Reb Zero kaves solig Eretz Yisrael ashkach mabro lemevar. Reb Zero, when he went to Eretz Yisrael, he couldn't find the boat to take him over. He missed the boat, literally. It goes every hour, 2 days, whatever it is. He missed the boat at that moment. So what did he do? Nokat b'mitzra v'kovar. This scared me a little bit. I never heard this idea before, but I did experience it once when I was a kid, and it was a very bad situation. There was a rope that went across the river, and you held onto the rope, and you went from side to side. So when I was a kid, I think I said this story a number of times. I'll say it again. I went to a camp here in Eretz Yisrael. They took us, unfortunately, to Nachal Yehudia, which is a very, very difficult Nachal. Sometimes they close it down for a couple years at a time. And so we went there, and there's 2 ways to do it. You could go from the top and go down. and there's like a 8-meter jump. They jump into a pool of water and they continue. But we were only 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. So it took us from the bottom up. And there was a rope stretched from one side of the lake or whatever, this body of water, to the other, and you're supposed to hold on to the rope. But a lot of us didn't know how to swim, and kids were drowning, and they were the guys, the counselors were saving them, and it was a terrible situation. So we were waiting, and then, guys were jumping off the cliff and into the water, and this yeshiva bachar said 1, 2, 3. He jumped in and never came out. He was nifter right in front of the whole camp. So, but I've never seen this idea to stretch a rope across a body of water and try to go, because the rope wasn't holding anybody. Because once you get to the middle, the rope wasn't supporting body weight. It was just going down under. It was a crazy, dumb idea. But anyway, you see that they did have something like this. Reb Zera, he grabbed the rope and went across. Omar Le'aud Zduki. Says it's Zduki to Reb Zera. I'm up Ziza. By the way, Reb Boyce, I just realized, you know what this Reb Zera is? This is the Reb Zera from Kuf Yud Amud Beis. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Reb Zera Havagam Mishtamin, Minei de Reb Yehuda. Reb Zera wanted to go up to Eretz Yisrael, and Reb Yehuda held Yinal Laru, so he kept on avoiding him. And here he is. He's finally going to Eretz Yisrael with a rope.
If the rope is tight on both sides.
Yeah, okay. If it's very tight, and it's not so long, I guess, how tight could it be? If it's a metal cable, maybe. Okay, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and maybe it was a small, I don't know. Who knows? Says the Tzduki, I'm a bzizo. Look at you. You're, how do you say in English, bzizu? You're impulsive. I wonder if I don't think the article would say that. I don't think he says that. Lashon, because I did see the article on this Gemara. Maybe. Somebody have an article there? No. But you're impulsive. You don't think, you talk before you don't have a filter, like some of us here. You just say things without even hearing them. Nasiv and Ishma. What do you mean, Nasiv and Ishma? Listen to the third verse. See no, we want to do it. So I'm a bziza, like you said it as a chisaron in us. Adarab, it's a milo sometimes. Akati, b'bzizusaychu kaimisu. You haven't changed. Same jeans. Wait like a man, she tells him. Like a normal human being. The next boat comes. Go. What are you jumping into the water with your clothes, with your shoes, with your cell phone, and grabbing a thing across the thing? Doesn't work like that.
Rash behavior.
Huh?
Archibald calls it rash behavior.
Rash behavior. I like impulsive much better. Yes. Beat the article on the last daf of the Masechta. It's a place where Moshe and Aaron, the greatest of the great, warned Zech to go in. I don't know that I'm right to go in. So, there's it reminded me when I was reading this, learning it, that I once gave a drasha in Bnei Yeshivas in the Shul. It was the only drasha I ever gave on Friday night, first and last. Here about tchelas, about the pros and the cons, why one should wear tchelas b'zman hazeh, and the different types of tchelas, went through the regime and the newer tchelas. And after the shir was over, a few guys came over and said, "Listen, it was very, very. You made a very good arguments, compelling arguments that you should wear tchelas. So why in the world don't you wear tchelas?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Maybe you're right. Okay, so the one thing that Chaim Kanevsky doesn't wear it, and Reb Eli doesn't wear it. So I went through that also. And there's a video that Chaim says, if you're convinced that you have to do it, you wear it, then you should wear it. So anyway, so the next day I went and I bought it. That's what happened over there. Last time reminded me this idea of when it's like an impulsive thing. You don't know what you do it, and that's it. Yes, cash later. You believe in it, you go, you do it. Fine. But
that's a bookie that asked them.
Yeah, we had it once before. So
Torah and about Aliyah
Torah and Aliyah Yisrael, very good. Yeah, it sounded familiar. That's what it is in Shabbos. Yeah. Very good. So the article brings over here a beautiful thing that the Kuzri this whole argument between the Chacham and the king, he says he finishes off with this Gemara. He brings this argument to the king of how. So the king says, so why don't you move to Eretz Yisrael? It's a great. You bring this Gemara. You brought this Gemara Reb Zera. So the king says, so why don't you move to Eretz Yisrael? So the Kuzri basically ends off. I didn't know this. It ends off. Okay, you're right. I'm going to Eretz Yisrael. The king convinced. He says, you made such a beautiful argument that you should live in Eretz Yisrael. So why are you here? She says, I don't have excuse. You're right. 100% you're right. I'm going to take a leave of absence. I'll see you later. Adios. Mamish like the Tchelos, no? You made such a great argument that you should. So wear it. Okay, great.
I was thinking, if you had the impulsive decision when you called me and I'm biking back from work and you decide,
oh, that's Aliyah again. Also, here, come, Avi, come here. Tell the Olam. I'm serious. Come. No, nobody's going to believe it. Come. You're here. You might as well just tell the Olam. Look, you're all dressed for the occasion with a tie, the whole thing.
Of course.
Tell the Olam, hatzlacha, what happened. I don't know. Could you see him?
Lower. Oh, Ben. There you go.
Yeah, get over here. This way. Yeah, right over here.
Okay. So I was biking home from work in Chicago when I was visiting. And
We did not say that we're going to talk about this today. This is spontaneous and impulsive.
Reality.
It's
This is reality TV.
That's reality TV. Anyways, delete.
Yeah,
Okay. So Kitzer, Eli called me. I said, are you available to meet? He goes, I want to move to Israel. And I'm like, what? He said, when did you say that? He said, this morning. And within a week or two, he was on the plane to Eretz Israel.
That's right. That's how you do it. When you have a great idea, you use impulsivity. Is that the word?
Impulsivity.
Impulsivity. Use impulsivity for mitzvahs only. And you just go, you jump. All right. Yeah, we met in a restaurant or something that night. That night, just me and you, because you were also planning on moving. And you worked on it for a year. I said, why do you need a year? 2 weeks is enough. Shalom Yisrael. Reb Abba Menashe Kipei Da'akoi. Reb Abba would kiss the stones of Akkoi. Now, you guys probably remember, but the younger generation doesn't. Before they had the gateways, the long things that come off the plane, they used to have stairs, especially in Eretz Yisrael for many years. Get off the Lao, you walk down the stairs, and a lot of people will get there and kiss the tarmac. Today, you can't do it anymore because it's like carpet and air conditioned. It doesn't feel right. But over there is like the hot tarmac. Unbelievable. Yeah. Menashe keep it Akkoi. Reb Chanina misakin miskalya. Reb Chanina would come to Eretz Yisrael and fix all the stuff that needed to be fixed on the roads, etc. Imagine a gadol adar, a gadol getting down on all dirty and cement and pavement. Reb Ami v'Reb Asi returning to Daf Yomi Amud Beis, sponsored as a zchus to continue being able to support Torah. And to finish Shas with Reb Eli. The final, I'm just going to cry. I love this Masechta. I love it. No, it wasn't the Geshmak, seriously. Every day was so Geshmak. Every day. So listen to this. It says like this, and what are we finishing off with? Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. Shas Katan. Finishing Shas Katan. Rabbi Ravasi. Chaimi Mishim Shalatula. Unbelievable. The famous Reb Ami Ravasi, I believe that they lived in Tveria. No, one always says they lived in Tveria. They used to be, I think it was them. They lived between the beams of Tveria. So they would go, if they were in the sun, they would go into the shade. Umetula l'shimsha. What's going on here? They didn't want to be mighty lads in Eretz Yisrael. People accused me of during the share because I said, it costs a lot of money to buy a refrigerator in Eretz Yisrael. So somebody wrote me a really nasty email. How dare you being mighty shemra in Eretz Yisrael? I hear. Be careful. The Ben Yoda says you shouldn't say on this Gemara. He brings it. You shouldn't say one bad word about Israel. Not one stone. Don't talk about the heat. Don't ever say this chamsin in Israel. It's terrible heat here. Terrible heat. It's not a good thing to say. That's what they're saying over here. Don't say it's hot. They went from the heat into the shade. They went from the shade into the heat in the winter because everything in Israel. You don't want to be mighty lads in Israel.
Do you regret for 1 second making Aliyah living in Israel?
There's things that are very difficult, and I discuss with people because I don't want people to make Aliyah and then go back. No, chas v'shalom. I love Eretz Yisrael. No, I'm not saying that. For me, it was the right thing. It not so posh that was the right thing for my children at the time, and my wife doesn't think it was the right thing for the children, and she actually still wants to go back. That's a different story. I love it now in Eretz Yisrael, and that's what it is. Reb Chia bar Gamda min Gatender v'Afra. Reb Chia bar Gamda used to roll in the dirt, roll in the dust. Shenemar, because it says in the pasuk, it doesn't mean, and we discussed this, there's no mitzvah to take dirt out of Eretz Yisrael. The dirt of Eretz Yisrael has no chashivas whatsoever once you take it out of Eretz Yisrael. What it means, when you're in Eretz Yisrael, when even the dirt, even the stones, I love and I roll in it. He showed his chavivos to Eretz Yisrael. The generation that David, that Mashiach is coming, categoria b'Talmid Chachamim, they're gonna talk bad about Talmid Chachamim. Kamrita Kamed Shmuel, Omar Tzeirov Achar Tzeirov. A Tzeirov is like a blacksmith, so there'll be one smelt after another. Shenemar Void Ba Assyria V'Shava V'Hoisel Avoy. Torah of Yosef. V'Zoizei U'Voizei V'Voizei. There's a story, I think my son-in-law told me, that it was an interesting, I'm sure everybody's going to write in. I don't know exactly how it goes. Maybe you told it to me, somebody told it to me, that they did an experiment with monkeys. They took a group of monkeys, and every monkey that went on top of the ladder, they punished the rest of the monkeys in a terrible way, and they started taking monkeys out and putting monkeys in, and eventually, there were no monkeys from the original group. So the monkeys that were there had no idea that you get punished when you go on top of the ladder. But one thing they knew, you don't go on the ladder. It's a famous experiment, because the original 5 monkeys got so punished, and they taught the other monkeys, and the new generation of monkeys have no idea why you can't go on the ladder. They just know you don't go on the ladder, because if you go, oy vavoy. That reminded me of this, that even the next generation are gonna go against Klal Yisrael, going to go against the Rabbanim. They don't know why they hate us. They have no clue. They're just brought into the world like that. This is how it is. We hate the Jews. We hate the Rabbanim. Or whatever it is. End the story. Rabbi Isai. Mazel Tov to everybody. We're leaving a few lines here so that you can make your siyum in your city by yourself. We're together with the Chabura. It was a wonderful journey, and we're looking very much forward to starting tomorrow Masechtas in the Darim and finishing in Beis Hashem with the Olam. Mazel Tov, and have a wonderful day.